Hey there, YouTube. How y'all doing? Thanks for tuning into my channel. I'm Kaya, and this is Kaya's take on it. So, before we even get started, if you are new, then I would really appreciate if you would go on and hit that subscribe button right there, somewhere down there. And just thanks, like I said, for tuning in. And if you haven't followed the journey, then we all know it's a journey, right? And so thank you so much for following me and just following my weight loss journey. Because this channel is about just my weight loss journey and the ups and downs and highs and lows and experiences that I have with it, and specifically my VSG surgery, and just that life after that, and the medication that I've taken or I'm taking, etc. So this is the Saxenda update. So I'm gonna give y'all an update. I know it's been a while. It's been like 7 months. I was like, oh my God, I gotta give an update. Excuse the way I look. I know that I should probably definitely be presentable. I see people doing the YouTube videos and they look all beautiful and presentable, but I just came in from a walk and I wanted to get some material out there for y'all with an update, and so this is it. So, but I have information though. I got information. So, anyways, Saxenda. So I got an update for y'all about Saxenda. And then the last time I did a video, I was talking about Qsymia, but I wasn't really comfortable speaking about it yet because like I was new to it. So like I didn't really want to talk fully about it until I had been on it for a while. You know, like that's just how I am. Like I don't really want to get out there and talk publicly about something until I've been on it for a while, so I can, you know, give you guys some real information on it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people start talking about stuff and they've only been on it, you know, for just a little bit, and so the information that you're getting, the material, you know, that we may be getting, it's not like real stuff, you know. So I just try to just be as authentic as possible with y'all. So anyway, so okay, so Saxenda, right? So I've been on Saxenda for, I've been on Saxenda for a little over 2 years or something like that now. So as far as my Saxenda, for the people that are new, I have lots of videos out there about Saxenda. If you are searching for material about Saxenda, I have a lot of videos for Saxenda. They give you history of me on Saxenda, how that started, how I was on Saxenda, then I said, oh, it's not working. I quit, then I restarted, you know. So if that's you, or if you're looking for material on Saxenda, I had videos kind of telling you the ups and downs in the beginning of Saxenda. So this video is more of like an update, but I will give a little more information on it. But anyways, but as far as, you know, like quick thing for Saxenda, you know, you all know when you start Saxenda, you get 5 pins, you know what I mean? So we all know that, right? We get 5 pins, and, you know, like I never really went into, you know, like what we do with the pins, you know what I mean? Like what do you do with the pins when you're done with them? You know what I'm saying? So usually what happens is that, you know, like if you're on Saxenda, what I do with the pins when I'm done with them, you know, like I turn my pins upside down. So like this is a fresh box, right? So this is a fresh box of Saxenda, and what I do with my pins when I'm done with them, so I don't get confused with them, is that I turn them upside down, because, you know, like when we first get them, they're coming like this. You know what I mean? And so I don't get them confused about which ones are which. When I'm done with them, I put them in the box and I turn them upside down. You know what I mean? So that lets me know that these are done. So, you know, when you get to that point, you know, like if you're on Saxenda, you know, and you get to that point, you're just like, okay, what do I do with these pins? Some people toss them, you know what I'm saying? Some people just go in and throw them away. But, you know, like, you know, sometimes you may have a little extra juice in there. You know what I'm saying? We all know, you know, Saxenda can, you know, cost. So, you know, if you got a little extra juice in there, you know, maybe to squeeze some out, you know, like you just never know, right? So I turn mine upside down and I put them in this box. So, and then my fresh ones are in there. So that's what I do with the ones that I'm done with. That there's extra, you know, extra medication in there, extra juice. That's what I call it, extra medication. So that's what I do with them. Also, as far as the pins and needles, so, you know, like, so we get all these needles, right? And so these needles last a long time. It seems like I've had these needles probably for about, I don't know, it's so many of them. It says there's 100 of them in here, and so I use a fresh needle every night. And so it seems, I guess they should last, what, 3 months or something like that. I don't know why they seem like they last longer than that. If you all are using these needles, is it me? Does it seem like these needles just seem to last a long time? So, but these are the needles that I'm using. These are what, 4 millimeters or something like that. So these are the needles that I'm using. They just seem to last like forever. Like these needles are like a Duracell batter. Like they just go on and on and on. They last forever. So I use a fresh one, but this box, let me say, like this box of needles just seems like it's very, like one box goes a long way. So those are the box of needles that go with the Saxenda. Now, for me, when I get the medication, the needles don't come with the box, right? So like you have to buy the needles separate than the box. That's me. So I don't know how other people, when it comes to their needles, like if their needles actually come with their medication, like the scripts, of course, you know, kind of get, like when you get the medication, you of course have to get the needles, because like you can't take the medication without the needle, because you have to inject it like into like a fatty area, but you have to get the needles, right? So, but when I get the medication, if I need needles, I have to purchase the needles separately. They're covered with insurance and things of that nature, but I want to make sure that I reiterate that, because some people may be like, you know, well, my needles, you know, when I get my medication, you know, that my needles just come along with it. So, you know, different strokes for different folks, etc. But when I get my medication, if I'm out of needles, then I just have to call them to, you know, get the script for the needles and things of that nature. So I want to make sure that I point that out too, because make sure we, you know, make sure we get everything thorough out here to all the information for y'all, right? So, what else? Oh yeah, so this is a medication, you know, and here it is right here, fresh one right here. Yeah, this one's fresh. So just so y'all know, well, I've used it. I think I opened this one up yesterday, maybe last night, something like that. So this is like a fresh one right here. There we go. Boom, bam, pow. So this is medication. You know, it dials down. You turn the dial. Once you inject it into the area, then, you know, and you press this here, then it injects in, and then it just, you know, goes back to zero once the medication is in there. So I keep mine in the fridge. Some people will just keep it out, you know, by their bed, or, you know, outside of the fridge or whatever like that. But I keep mine, you know, by the fridge. So that's for that. The other thing, let me see here. So, oh, I'm not even keeping up with my posters here. Let me see here. When I started Saxenda, I started out at 6 mils, and now I'm at 3 mils. So I've been at 3 mils for over like a year now. So you move up as you go. You know what I mean? So I move up as I go. And I moved up based off of like feeling like less restriction. You know what I'm saying? So like when you feel less restriction, then your provider, your physician, or the person monitoring you will let you know, hey, you move up on the Saxenda when you feel less restriction. So that's what I did, and that's what I did for the medication. So that's how I ended up moving up on Saxenda. So like I said, I started out first with 6 mils, and so now I'm on 3 millimeters. So that's what I've been doing. And like I said, I've been on 3 millimeters for about a little over like a year and a half or something like that now. A little over a year, definitely a little over a year. So what else? Oh, side effects, right? So personally, myself, when I was taking since I've been taking Saxenda, right? When I first started Saxenda, personally, this is just for me, I felt a little tired and a little crampy in the very beginning, but the side effects were so short term. They were short term, like maybe like a day or two, you know, that, you know, I just continued to take it, you know. But some people, you know, some people have reported feeling cramps, you know, and they just like, oh, they want to quit, you know, or they just felt really bad, you know, they had really bad cramps, etc. So, you know, they stopped taking it. So just for myself personally, you know, like I did feel fatigue and crampiness and stuff like that, but it wasn't like huge cramps, and it weren't like 24 hours where I was like keeled over, like, you know, I thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital or something. It wasn't anything like that. They were just like, you know, for women watching this or things of that nature, they were just, you know, like felt like menstrual cramps, very slight, you know, but occasional, but nothing where, you know, I didn't need any Tylenol or anything like that to ease my discomfort. They were so minor. So it only lasted, like I said, a couple of days, but they weren't ongoing, so it didn't bother me or anything like that. I think the biggest thing I noticed was just me feeling a little tired for a little bit, but that subsided and I was fine after that. So that was just myself, and they were short term, so I just kept with it, right? And so, you know, other people will say, I've heard people comment, and I've read these in other comments also on other videos for people, that did Saxenda, or, and they said, oh, it's not working for me. Saxenda isn't working for me. I stopped taking it, right? And I felt the same way. So I've been in that situation before where I was like, Saxenda isn't working because, what happens is that you won't feel the restriction. You may be at 3, you may be at the taper of 3, and you'll be like, this isn't working, or you'll find yourself picking up weight, right? So I was like in that same boat. Right. And I was like, oh, maybe I need to do a reset, so I ended up researching, how do I do a reset? I need to reset, so this thing will work again, stuff like that. Been there, done that, all that for people maybe watching, and maybe you're in that situation, right? Where you're just like, how do I get this to work again? It worked in the beginning, now it's not working. You may be there, right? And so I felt that same way, right? And so what I discovered about Saxenda is that it takes time, right? I can say that about Saxenda, and that's why I think that they say that this can be like a long-term medication that people are taking. Saxenda takes time, and I'm going to get into why I feel that it takes time, but this is just my own observation for myself. Saxenda takes time, and it works, but it's something that takes time to stay in your system. And I can say that because there have been times where I had a gap in getting my refill. Maybe I was out of town, I forgot I needed a refill, or the doctor's office was closed and I needed a refill, and I had to get the insurance approval, things of that nature, and there was a vacation or holiday, or something like that. So and I didn't have any medication, I forgot my medicine. And, so maybe I was without the medicine. I was out of town for 2 days, 3 days. I didn't have any of the medication. And I was like, oh, man, I don't have the medicine, stuff like that. And I still felt like the restriction. But what will happen is that, when I came back and, I got the medicine and stuff like that, and I put it back, injected again, right? I felt the restriction again, and the restriction was still there though while I was out of town. So I was worried that, something was going on, but when I came back, it was just fresh again. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to explain. It's one of those things where it's just if you go without it a day or two, and then you do it again, then you'll feel it's starting all over again. It's just really hard to explain, but I've been in that situation. It was in the times I've been in those situations, they weren't on purpose. They were always on accident, just by mistake, or by an honest mistake. And it's I've only been for 2 days, 3 days or something like that. And it's when I did get back to the medicine, then it was just felt like restarting again, where it's just it felt like the restriction was there again. It's really hard to explain. So, and it's not being addicted. It's not being addicted to the medicine or anything like that. It's just you just know you don't have it. And then when you get back, you're like, oh, I need to start back on this, so that, I don't mess anything up and I keep my regimen up and things of that nature. So, and then when you do, it's like I said, it's starting all over again. So, I don't want to go on too much of that. But anyway, so it is something, like I said, that my point is that it does work, but I'm just talking about myself, but it's something that I noticed that it takes time, and I can see why they say it's something that, is there for a while. It takes time. I understand that. And, but it took me a while to understand that for myself. So, what else? And, let me see here. Oh, so, Qsymia. So, that's that part for Saxenda, right? So, that's my update for Saxenda, and I want to talk about Qsymia. Now, I take Saxenda at night. I didn't switch over to the day, right? I didn't switch over to the daytime yet, just because with work, I've been really busy with work, right? But, my update for my weight. So, now, I started Qsymia I did my last video with you on my update about 7 months ago. That's when I started Saxenda, 7, 8 months ago, before I did the update, right? I did the update 7 months ago, and I started Qsymia about a month prior to that or something like that. So since then, since that update, right, I've lost I think 11 pounds or something, 10, 11 pounds, something like that, close to that. I was checking my scale on my app, right? And so I want to tell you about Qsymia. So I started Qsymia, right? And because I had went through that stage where I was like, we were in that pandemic. We're in the pandemic still, but we were in quarantine. And, you know, during the quarantine, the movement and, you know, kind of being out and about and stuff like that, it was limited. And I was just trying to get ahead of things. I was concerned, you know, about, you know, picking up weight and, you know, not being as active. You know, I know I was going to get out here and walk and exercise and things of that nature, but I was just trying to get ahead of things. And so I was speaking with my provider about it. And I see my surgeon, my weight loss surgeon. So I go and I check in. And so I check in probably like every other month, every 3 months I go and I check in. So some people have weight loss surgery and they, you know, they just go, they get their weight loss surgery and boom, bam, pow, that's it. And so, but like, I just feel like I always need to be accountable because, you know, like that was an investment that I made into myself. And I just want to always I always want to keep that in front of my face. You know what I mean? So, you know, I was talking to him about some things and, you know, like, I had noticed even with the Saxenda, you know, I had picked up like 2 pounds or something like that. Now, you know, 2 pounds, that's not a lot of weight. You know what I mean? Some people are like, oh God, 2 pounds, that's just so, that's so extra. That's just so obsessive, weight obsessive, things of that nature, blah, 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 right? You know, I get it and stuff like that, but it's hard to explain. When you've had weight loss surgery, 2 pounds can seem like a lot. You can become very nervous when you pick up 2 pounds. It's very hard to explain that mindset when you pick up 2 pounds. So it's hard to explain. So for people that actually care, you know, some people have weight loss surgery and they just go back. You know what I mean? But I'm not one of those people. So, so those 2 pounds, they were starting to scare me. So, you know, so I was working out, things of that nature, right? So I went to the doctor, talked to them, and they told me about Qsymia, right? Now, Qsymia, it has phentermine in it. And I was like, you know, like I felt like a failure, right? Because I was like, man, I'm already taking this Saxenda. I had weight loss surgery. I'm taking Saxenda. I'd already felt like a failure taking Saxenda, and I had weight loss surgery, you know, because I felt like I was laughing. I felt like I was being laughed at myself, right? And now I'm talking about taking Qsymia. But, you know, it is what it is. And at the end of the day, you just have to just pat yourself on the back and be proud of yourself. So they told me about Qsymia, and it has a little phentermine in it, but it's not a lot. You know, because phentermine can, you know, like, I don't know about y'all, but when you take phentermine, right, like phentermine can, you know, you lose weight on it, and then when you pick up the weight, it just seems like you get bigger than what you were before you lost it, you know. So I was like, man, I really don't want to do that, you know. But when they explained to me that it's not a high dose, it's a very low dose, and it has Topamax in it, which is like a suppressant, appetite suppressant, I was like, okay. So I listened to what she said, right? And so anyway, so I take Qsymia. So I take Qsymia in the morning time, right? So it has, now this Qsymia, right? Qsymia is like a taper dose. So you start out, you gotta listen to this because it's a little details, right? You start out 2 weeks. On 2 weeks, you start out at 3.75 dose, okay? And it's 1 pill a day before meals. So you take it in the morning time. You take 1 pill a day in the morning time. You got to do that in the morning time because it gives you energy. You know what I mean? So you don't want to take it at nighttime because you're going to be awake, right? Now, you do that for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you go 4 weeks and you take another dose, and it gives you just a little bit more phentermine, and you get a little bit more Topamax, right? It's like 46 milligrams of Topamax, right? And, you know, like when they were telling me this, I had to write it down. And seriously, when they're telling you this stuff, you feel like it's like an education class because you're like, man, this is really detailed. You know what I'm saying? And, but you take that for 4 weeks, right? Now, when you're taking that, you're feeling a little less hungry, but not a lot less hungry, right? Because they tell you, oh, well, you know, it's going to give you, it's going to be an appetite suppressant because it is an appetite suppressant, right? But you're just like, well, Saxenda is supposed to be an appetite suppressant, and it is, but it's not like, you know, huge, but it is an appetite suppressant, right? They're like, oh no, this is an appetite suppressant. So when I was taking it at the 4 week dose, I was like, okay, I'm not seeing a difference, right? Well, when I hit the next dose, it's the 11.5 of phentermine, 11.5 milligrams of phentermine, and 69 milligrams of Topamax. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you feel the difference in, right? So at that dose, you're feeling you are feeling restriction. You're feeling the food being suppressed, you know, like you're not very hungry. Like I wasn't hungry at all. Like I had to remind myself to eat. Like I literally could go without eating the entire day. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it wasn't me feeling full. It was in my head. I had to remind myself to eat. Like something was just turned off where I just did it in my head. Like there was something in my head that was turned off to tell me that I was hungry. You know what I mean? And that it was connected to my stomach. So my stomach wasn't even telling me I was hungry. So I literally would have to like remind myself to eat, you know, which is very different than Saxenda, because Saxenda, you know, like will suppress your appetite, but you'll still kind of get a trigger from your stomach to your brain to tell you, okay, it's time to eat. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of become disciplined and okay, at this time I'm going to be a little hungry. So Qsymia acts a little differently. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure that I like explain the differences in these things, right? So that was at the 11.25 phentermine and 69 milligrams of Topamax, okay? So now, the other thing is that then there's another dose, right? The last dose is 15 milligrams of phentermine and 96 milligrams of Topamax. And I've been on that dose for 2 months now, okay? So that is the last dose. That's the strongest dose, and that's the last dose, okay? Now, the first dose, the 2-week dose that I was taking, the small dose, because you got to start off small with this so your body get adjusted, right? I was fine, right? Now, that 4-week dose I was telling you about, the one where I was at the 7.5 phentermine, 46 Topamax, you're on that for 4 weeks. So you start off small, then they give you a little bit more, right? Now I can understand now why they give you a little bit more, okay? So if you try this out, I would go start out small and then let them give you a little bit more. Don't start out where they give you the medium and you go more. That's just my personal opinion. Start out at the smallest and then let them just give you a little bit more, give you a little bit, like go to each level slowly. And I'm giving you the reason why, okay? Because when I was at the 4 weeks for the 7.5 phentermine and the 46 Topamax, I was very agitable. I was agitated, and my personality, I was very aggressive. Now, you know, like, I'm more of like a laid back person, kind of chill person. I can become, you know, agitable, aggressive, stuff like that. But I was very aggressive. Like my personality was just very aggressive. I was agitated very, very, very easily. And I mean, anything would trigger me. And I even noticed it myself. Everyone noticed it, and I even noticed it myself, right? And it took me a while to realize it was like the only thing that I could attribute it to was the medication, because nothing else had changed in my life besides taking the medicine. You know what I'm saying? Everything else has stayed the same. And the only new thing I had factored in my life at that time was taking the medication. So at that point, I only attributed it to the medication. You know what I mean? And so I stayed on it to see, I did stay on it just to see, you know, if it would, you know, change, you know, stuff like that. But I had concluded, I was like, you know what? I'm going to remain on this and I'll go to the new dose. And if this doesn't change within a week and a half, the new dose, I'm going to stop this medicine, because I didn't like the way my personality was changing. You know what I mean? Like the aggressiveness that was coming out of me. I didn't like that at all, you know? And so, now my appetite did suppress slightly. I can say that, you know, like my appetite did suppress a little bit, but the personality change, like that just wasn't worth it for me, right? So now, when I went to the next dose, the 11.25 phentermine and the 65 milligrams of Topamax, when I changed up, my personality went back to itself. It's really hard to explain, but I went back to my normal self. You know what I mean? And everything just I level set, and everything just went back to being normal. I felt normal again. I wasn't as aggressive and stuff. And I talked to the doctor about that too, you know. And you know, I looked up symptoms. I was online looking up, like, is this normal? And, you know, side effects and stuff like that. And I did see, you know, like, you know, that was a side effect. But initially when I was looking up side effects, I didn't see that. But it seemed like all of a sudden when I was going through that, all of a sudden, yeah, that was a side effect. Like, so, but when I went to the 11.25 phentermine, 69 milligram Topamax, everything level set, and it just went back down. And all those seemed like I tapered up, although I went up in the medicine, everything else in me just came back to normal, right? And when it went back to normal, I had a lot more energy, and my appetite was completely suppressed, right? Like, I wasn't hungry at all at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was off. Like, I wasn't hungry at all. And I had to drink lots of water. Now, I wasn't like thirsty, like I didn't have like a dry mouth, like, oh, I have to drink so much water, I have to drink so much water. But I was just drinking a lot of water because I just wasn't hungry. You know what I mean? But I was still eating, like I was making myself eat, but I just didn't have a desire to eat. I didn't have any desire to eat any food, right? And I had lots of energy. I did feel an energy boost. Now, it wasn't like a energy boost like you're taking some type of medication that, you know, like a caffeine or a quick caffeine or something like that. It wasn't that type of energy boost. But, you know, I did feel, you know, like more energy, like healthy though, something very slight, you know what I'm saying? So it does give you energy, right? And I think they're just like the phentermine and things of that nature, but it's not like strong. Now, during that time, when I was on that dose, I lost 7 pounds. So I did lose 7 pounds during that dose. But I was also walking. So I was walking like 4 or 5 miles a day, because I have a walking group on Facebook. You know what I mean? So I'll put that down there in the comment section. So, you know, I was walking. That was particularly like during the summertime. We were walking like, you know, 4 miles, 5 miles every other day, things of that nature. So, excuse me, you know, I was exercising too, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, so I lost 7 pounds during that time. Now, for the last 2 months, I've been on the 15 milligrams, 15 milligrams of phentermine, 92 milligrams of Topamax. That's the highest dose, right? And what I can say about the highest dose is everything is still the same, right? And since I've been on this highest dose, I've only been on this highest dose now for 2 months, and I've lost 4 pounds. You know what I'm saying? So I've lost 4 pounds in 2 months. So I've lost more weight in less time. You know what I'm saying? And that's the highest dose. And the other thing I've noticed is that the pills change colors, right? And so because I got the medication, and when I got the medication, I looked and I was like, why is it, I thought something was wrong. I was like, why are the pills different colors? You know, I was like, did they, you know, like, did the manufacturer change or something change? That, you know, is this my medication? And so the pills change colors when the dosage change. And I didn't notice that with the other pills, but for this dose, the pills change color. So that's kind of like a heads up too for you all. You know, if you all have looked into this medication, or if you're watching this because you want information on this medication, just know that, you know, when the dose changes, the pill changes colors. So, but yeah. So, all right. So here we go. So I've talked about Saxenda. I've talked about Qsymia. Do I take both of them? Yes, I take both of them. Okay. And I take the Saxenda at nighttime, and I take the Qsymia in the morning time. And like I said, I'm monitored by my weight loss surgeon in their office. So everything, you know, is cool. And I have my walking groups. I'm exercising while I try to walk. And there's a Facebook, you know, for some of you all that are new to this, like I said, I have other videos, but there is a Facebook group for Saxenda. There's a lot of people on there, so you can get a lot of other helpful information, great tidbits and things of that nature. You know, people on there talking about, you know, medication, side effects, and benefits and things of that nature. So it's a good group. I haven't really come across a good Qsymia group on Facebook. with a lot of information. You know, so I'll still search around. If I find something when I do another update in a couple weeks, then I'll let you guys know. If I find a good update, a good site, I'll let you guys know. But I haven't come across one. I haven't really come across a lot of information on YouTube yet for Qsymia. I've been looking for some videos about Qsymia, but I haven't come across a lot of videos or anyone doing like a lot of informational videos on Qsymia yet. So I don't know. I don't know what that's about. But last bit is that Saxenda. So for Saxenda, I guess Saxenda is CVS, but some people do it by mail. You know, they order it by mail. I just go pick mine up at CVS, right? But Qsymia, I get that in the mail, right? So it's mail order, and I get that in the mail, and I pay about $118 a month for Qsymia. That's with shipping included. And they give you the option of 5 to 7 days or, you know, overnight, etc., right? It's more convenient for me to order Saxenda. It's more convenient for me to get Saxenda at CVS. Because, you know, CVS isn't, you know, there's CVS everywhere, right? Qsymia, what I do with Qsymia is that I always order my Qsymia ahead of time. So, like, when I'm halfway through my bottle of Qsymia, then I order the next bottle because it takes some time, you know, with everything going on in the world with, you know, the postal services and mail and things of that nature. It seems like it takes some time for it to get here. And I do like, I choose like the 3 to 5 day shipping, so I pay a little bit extra for it. But because it takes some time to get here, then I just order it when I'm halfway through. I order the next bottle when I'm halfway through the bottle that I'm on, just so that I don't have like a gap. You know what I'm saying? Just so I don't have a gap in that span. And I just do that by choice. But that's kind of like a little heads up tidbit. If you all decide to, you know, try Qsymia, you know, and things of that nature, that's what I do when I order it by mail. Yeah, so that's kind of like I said, that's optional. So when you do order Qsymia by mail, it'll come, you know, oh, here's my little posters right here. So this is brand new. I'm halfway through my bottle. So I wanted to show you guys, you know, like kind of like what it looks like. So when you do order it by mail, it just comes like this, right? Mine just comes just like this, right? And it's just in a plain little package. And I'm just opening it up for you all, just so you all can see. You get your bottle. You get your invoice. And then you get your medication guide. You know what I mean? And you get the risk of like birth defects, stuff like that. I guess if you're, you know, pregnant, you should be taking. I don't think you should be taking this if you're pregnant. I'm not a clinician, so so I'm not real. I can't really speak on that, but you know, they give you all the information in these packets. So those are the things you should get in the packet with the medication. So it just comes in that packet just like that. So that's what you get. So that is that. Let me show you guys what I'm looking like. Hold on here. Uh-oh. Let me lift this up. Let me tilt this up a little bit real quick. Sorry, like I said, I just came in with my dog. Uh-oh, I'm gonna zip myself. Let's see here. Take my coat off. So here I am right now. Here we go. Hope you guys, you can see me. Oh, somebody's at the door and there's my dog barking. But this is me right now, so I'm looking like working out, exercising, well, walking. So guys, you can see. The other thing I've been doing is I've been wearing waist beads, and so I've been making them. I sell them on Etsy. So I have a site on Etsy. It's called Waist Candy Culture, and I wear those to, you know, like help maintain everything, help maintain my weight. And so I want to lose about 10 more pounds. But that's what I've been doing. Like I said. So yeah. So if you guys have any questions or, you know, want some more information, then all you got to do is drop it in the comments. I try to interact with you all or get back with you all as soon as I can. If you have questions or what have you, then I try to make sure that I interact with everybody as much as possible. And I really appreciate the comments and the support. And then even the questions that you all have. I just really appreciate everything. And I wish you all the best of luck. If you all are on a journey or searching for information, I wish you all the best of luck. So, by the way, Happy New Year. And y'all stay safe out there. See you later. Peace.